Hello, writers, and welcome to session 4 in our narrative writing unit. Today, we're going to be talking about how good writers use a storyteller's voice. They tell stories, not summaries. So, it's so awesome that you guys are writing about stories that really happened to you. I'm really glad that you thought of someone who was important to you and you came up with a bunch of ideas of what to write on. That's really sweet. Sometimes when we're telling true stories, we use a reporter's voice. So if you've ever read a newspaper or watched the news, you know that reporters report on the facts. However, if you're reading a story, oftentimes there's rich language that the author uses. So other times we use a storyteller's voice to tell our stories, so they will become more exciting and colorful. That's going to be our job today. We are going to use our storyteller's voice to make sure that our stories are exciting and colorful. Today we are going to learn to put interesting details in our stories to grab the reader's attention and make the story fun to read. So here's a good strategy that we can use. The strategy is called make a movie. Imagine that you're writing a movie. Imagine that you're making a movie when you write. Use your imagination to make the video in your mind, then describe it on your paper. So scholars, if I was telling the story about how Ella, my daughter, fell last week and hit her eye and had to get stitches, if I want to tell that story in rich and colorful detail, the first thing I would do is close my eyes. And then I would think of, okay, who was there? Mrs. Halverson was there and Ella was there. So everybody close your eyes and come with me in my movie making. So what happened? She gave me the sign that she was all done with dinner, so I put her down on the ground. Then she opened the sliding door to go onto the deck. It was cloudy out, but it was quite warm. Ella only had one shoe on because she had taken the other one off. I started putting away the dishes, but I could still see and hear Ella on the deck until I heard a crash and then a "Wah!" So I rushed from the dishwasher to the deck. She was sitting on the red wood, but that wasn't the only thing that was red. She was bleeding from her eye. Her t-shirt was covered in blood. I quickly yanked off her t-shirt and yelled, "Blake!" That's Mr. Halverson's name. My husband came running from downstairs, upstairs. He told me to put pressure on her cut. So I used the t-shirt that I had grabbed off her and put that on her forehead. We hopped into the car and ran to the ER. So scholars, did you see how I used my imagination and thought about what was happening? I was using my storyteller voice. Opposed to when I told you about what happened last week, it was more about, more in the reporter style, saying this is what happened to Ella. We did this, that, and the other thing. But when we close our eyes and make a movie, then we can use much more detail and make it a much more interesting story. I'm so looking forward to see some great writing as I look at your uploaded work today. Make sure that when you are finding your storyteller voice, that when you find your story, you close your eyes and you imagine it like a movie. And then use your words to describe what's happening in the movie. And then write those descriptive words down on your paper. All right. If you would like to share with more than just me, I will set up a Padlet page for us to share our writing samples so that your classmates can also see what you're working on. All right, scholars, good luck and happy writing.